This next one, Jim, was sent via email to CornyDriveThru@gmail.com from Mark in Fairborn, Ohio. Hi, Jim and Brian. I grew up watching wrestling in the 80s and 90s, and watching today's wrestling, many moves seem to have just mostly vanished. The bear hug, the airplane spin, the Russian leg sweep, among other moves, are just gone for more flips and tope suicidas or whatever. Why do you think these moves and holds that lasted decades have just disappeared?
Because the mark's got in the ring. In the case of a bear hug, why, all the boys now, a bear hug? Well, that's too boring. Did
John Studd ruin it so that people can't see what it could be other than that?
Well, no, it's after that. Here's the thing. When the territories died, we lost a generation, and the indies started, and everybody could become a wrestler or a promoter. And then that generation that had been fans got in the ring. We've delineated all this in more detail before. But when that happened, guys got in the ring that were specifically becoming wrestlers because they wanted to do the fun moves. And the bear hug isn't fun for anybody. But the bear hug was a great, useful hold in wrestling to either as a finish for a giant or as a chance to grab your breath and get the people with you so that the babyface could have an opportunity to fight from underneath, and then you could, part of the roller coaster ride.
You could use it on the playground.
Well, you could use it on the playground. And of course, nobody even bothers. The guys now would not have any idea of how to use the bear hug properly. If it's a finish, it's for a guy like Rusev, who would clamp those big arms around the guy, small of the guy's back, and he would be shaking him like a fucking rag doll, like a pit bull, shaking a little chihuahua around. And the guy'd be screaming, and then he'd give up because he couldn't take the pressure on his ribs anymore. The bear hug as a transition situation where you've been working on the babyface's back, but you've got to let the people cool down for a second, and you're going to call your next fucking, bit of business. You scoop the guy up in the bear hug, and now you've got him. And instead of his legs around your back so that he can hold on while he's being shook, that's when you put his shins on your thighs, because you're going to have him up there for a minute or so. And that way he can help you support the goddamn weight as you're working the hold in a grinding fashion, and he's selling and he's trying to pry himself away from you, and you can see the pain on his face to let the people start going, come on, come on, come on. And then he's trying to fight with a punch, boom, or another punch, boom, and he cinches it back up again. Oh my God. And then maybe he finally thinks of the head clap or whatever. And that causes the people to pop, and the babyface is released, and now the heel has something to sell, so the babyface can try a Hail Mary from underneath. There's all different ways you can use that alone. He mentioned the Russian leg sweep. Great snazzy technical move for either a babyface like Brad Armstrong, or Stan Lane used to have such a beautiful leg sweep with a float over. And is, again, easy for a green individual to take because you fall back. The guy does the rest. I say, you almost never see a backdrop anymore, for God's sake. And it's because that once the fans got in the ring and determined to make it all about all the moves, these are common, simple things that you can do as transitions or as just variety from the same bullshit we see constantly that have either been forgotten about, or the guys now in the business, unless they go to the proper training facility, they don't even know how to apply or in what context to apply them or what the meaning of it is. Here's one thing that we used to teach in OVW that I had a lot of guys say they never heard before in wrestling training. Nobody ever explained the drop down to them. See, they've gone past what's actually happening in the ring, and now they've just accepted it as this is the way wrestling is done. So they're calling shit. They don't even know why they're doing it. If you get a headlock on somebody and they shoot you into the ropes and they drop down in front of you, you jump over them, you hit the ropes and come back and y'all do something. The guys just think that's part of the way it makes it look cool when you're running back and forth across the ring. No, the drop down is an evasive maneuver from the guy on defense. And nobody even explains that to guys in wrestling school anymore. And that's why they all look like just some fucking performed drop flat down with, and the other guy's just gracefully jumping over. But the fucking idea is this guy's cranking a headlock on you, and your head hurts. So with what strength you can muster, you fucking throw him off into the ropes to get him off of you. And as he goes toward the ropes, you're still selling the headlock, so you're still really you're on the defensive, and you've just thrown the guy away. But the guy uses the momentum that you threw him with to go into those ropes and come back at you with a shoulder tackle or some strike or blow. So when you see him coming off the ropes, you drop down to evade that. And it's even a plus if you can drop down and trip him so that when he goes over you, he falls and you can regain the advantage. But you drop down to evade. Then the guy jumps over you because he doesn't want to trip over you. But then as he's coming off the ropes on the other side, now you've had more time to recover from the headlock and from throwing the guy off of you. And conversely, he has just been flummoxed because he had to jump over a guy that he didn't know was going to drop down. So he's a little confused. So he might be easy prey for you to drop kick him or hip toss him. And then you can take the offense. Guys now just call spots like, well, you leapfrog me and I'll drop down and you do this because it looks like cool motion. They don't. That's what I talk about when I say they don't understand how to keep the story and the appearance of and the element of a contest in the context of a athletic competition where guys are trying to outmaneuver each other. Even if you're not a wrestling expert, you're just a fan sitting there watching or on TV, subliminally, your brain understands when shit doesn't look like it makes visual sense and people are reacting in a way otherwise than you would think that they normally would. So your brain at some level keeps up on it even though you might not, and that's why sometimes things don't look right to people, even if they're not experts and can break it down. And I've broken that down.
It's interesting. When I was a kid, a lot of those are kind of the basics of wrestling that you knew, like I said, on the playground. You knew the airplane spin. You may not know what wrestler did it even before you watched wrestling, but you knew the airplane spin, the bear hug. I wonder if those are commonly known today. Probably not, because I knew them because, my dad knew them.
Yeah, well, a bear hug is kind of, pretty much you can kind of figure that out if you get in the situation to begin with. The airplane spin might be a bit more difficult, but, well, maybe that's why now you've got kids on the playground, and instead of getting sent to the principal's office, they're getting sent to the goddamn emergency room because now they're trying to fucking do flips off fucking high objects through tables. Hey, that's what they're seeing on television.
Without doing the review of the match right now, but talking about banned moves, what'd you think of the pile drivers this week in Dax versus Danielson?
At the top of the program, even in my drug-addled stupor here, I remind you, I said I haven't seen it yet.
Then I take it back.
Yeah, but what did they do them good? Did they do them bad, or did they do them indifferent?
I haven't seen Dax do anything bad yet. Everything he does looks great.
But will you say pile drivers? Were they just pile driving each other back and forth willy-nilly? Or
no, I'm saying pile drivers because I'm a little high. So I don't remember if there was more than one pile driver, but I certainly remember Dax's big pile driver, but I don't want you to hold me to that.
I don't want to hold you at all right now. Don't try to hug me. You might give me something. You might make me addicted to them marijuana pills.
Well, I don't know about that, but what I may give you is a really wonderful chef-crafted meal. So that'll help you feel better because it's fresh and it's delicious and it's chef-crafted.
There you go. And it's not like that one I had on the island in St. Martin. It was more like chef-crapped. No, this is chef-crafted. Ladies and gentlemen, are you on the go? And I'm not talking about our opening subject. I'm talking about you got a busy life. You got a busy life. You don't have a lot of free time. And you're definitely getting ready around the holidays. It's all about ready-to-eat meal delivery. The folks at Factor shop it, they prep it, they cook it, and they deliver it to your door so that you can heat it up and eat it up. Like I said, chef-crafted, dietitian-approved meals. And boy, you ought to see her, Una the dietitian. She's a very severe woman with dark hair and a bun in the back.
Una,
the dietitian, she approves all this shit. She tells you whether there's proper amount of calories and nutrients and condiments and experiments involved in this food. And it's no hassle. Like I said, you heat it up and eat it up. 34 meals per week. They've got Gourmet Plus, Keto, Calorie Smart, the Vegan and the Veggie. They've got like 3 dozen weekly add-ons. You've got all kinds of stuff to choose from. And they even go with smoothies, juices, snacks, all that stuff. And they send it to you right in this little tray. And then once you eat it, you just toss the tray. And there you go. And if you need special occasion meals, Gourmet Plus is a perfect solution for fast upscale options. And now I say upscale, meaning, with the ritzy titsy crowd. I'm not saying this will make your scale go up. You're not going to gain weight. Well, if you eat about 15 of these a day, you probably will. Anything could happen. Nevertheless, you can change your order up every week. They've got plans from 4 to 18 meals a week. I don't know about you people who just eat 4 meals a week. I think you need more nutrition. But nevertheless, there's no prep and no mess. And they've also got Protein Plus and Keto. Protein Plus and Keto. They were the summer replacement for the Green Hornet and Keto. And right now, you can head to go.factor75.com/JCE60. Now, I know what you're saying. You're saying, what the fuck is that? Is that the goddamn combination of Fort Knox? No, Fort Knox is much easier. Folks, write this down. go.factor75.com/JCE60 and use the code JCE60 to get 60% off your first box of Factor. If it wasn't such a big savings, I wouldn't ask you to go through all that fucking hassle. But.
And it's delicious.
And it's delicious, too, and you can feed yourself. As provided you have functioning arms, you're not confined to an iron lung somewhere, but you can feed yourself off this stuff if you're ambulatory. That is go.factor75.com/JCE60 and use the code JCE60 to get 60% off your first box of Factor. I'm telling you, when you factor in the ease and the no muss, no fuss aspect, well, this is going to be a wonderful way to get to Christmas without having to waste all your time cooking food and things.